Peace, beloved.
There you go, there you go. Ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen, it's my
yeah,
honor and
yeah.
privilege at this time to introduce some, present the others, an elusive lyrical assassin, one who has smashed the game and came and took this game by storm, man. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm,
Theodore Zone, Stapleton Zone,
mm,
TMF Zone,
no
the
doubt.
man, the myth, the legend. Trife Diesel, aka
You know,
we got
never
an
the reason.
APB on Starks and Trife Da God.
How you doing, beloved? Everything
I'm
good?
good, Lord. I'm good. How you?
Everything good. You know what I mean? Just maintaining, holding it down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you hear the streets out here. The
Yeah,
streets
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Where you at? Where you
But
at? Where you at?
I'm in NC.
Oh, you in AC?
No, NC. I just heard some hand cannons going off. Now I hear all this mess going on right
So
here.
what you say?
Yeah, it's going, it's going down. Like right before I went live, I
Uh,
heard some 40 counts going off and shit. I'm like, oh shit, all right.
yo, I respect. Yo, let me just say one thing. You know what I mean? I appreciate you for reaching out to me. You know what I mean? And showing the love that you given me and everything like that. I appreciate you for that.
That's love, man. I appreciate you picking up the pen and the microphone. You understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And blessing us over the years. You see what I'm saying? From, you know, early defining moments in Ghost's career, you know what I'm saying, to, you know, you coming in to sing, getting them alley oops, man. Feel like NBA Jam. I don't know if you remember that joint, NBA
Yeah,
Jam. You
man.
know what I'm saying? You
Tell you
get.
something. My girl bought the ill. She bought like she just bought the NBA Jam game. Word.
Wow.
We put quarters in it and all that. You know.
That's my
It's ill.
shit right there.
Yo, tell you something. Like you know what I mean? Real shit. I'm gonna let you carry the interview, but I'm just want to say this first and foremost. Like Ghost, that's my heart. You know what I mean? That's my big bro. You know what I mean? He showed me to the world. And like, you know what I mean, I always forever be embedded to him in my life. You know what I mean? Real shit.
Well, well. So what's
So
that story,
Biscuits,
man?
talk
You
to
know,
me, talk to me, talk to me.
how did you how you start? You see what I'm saying? Like, what was your start, your entry into the game?
My intro, like, I was like probably like 12 years old. I know the first time I ever fell in love with rap was like MC Shan. Remember Video
Mm.
Music Box? I used to always watch Video Music Box. And that first song, like The Girl That Left Me Lonely, that was
Yeah,
like the song that put me into like, I used to be like, damn, that nigga look live, like, you know what I mean? And he just had the Kango on. I was like, yo, I want to rhyme and shit. So Video Music
mm.
Box put me on to rhyming and shit, you know what I mean? And then when
DJ
I
Ralph
found out,
McDaniels, man. Yeah.
yeah, then when I found out that I had niggas in the hood, like Ghost was doing the same shit and all that shit, it was just everything just fell in place, you know what I mean?
Right.
Wow.
So your early influence was like Shan. You like so you
Shane,
you go ahead.
I'm the youngest. I'm the youngest of five kids. Like, you know what I mean? My sister's older than me. She knew Dougie Fresh, and she used to
Mm.
all the parties, have pictures with Dougie Fresh, Dana Dane, all them niggas. I used to see the pictures with her, like, you know what I mean? So
Right.
boom, I was fascinated by that. My older sister, she had me fascinated by that. You know what I mean? And I was just a little boy. I had to be only like 8 years old, 6 years old, just to see her, because she's like 10 years older than me. So she was like, you know what I mean? She put me onto all that shit. You know what I mean? The bubble gooses. Remember the V
Right.
gooses? You know what I
Right.
mean? So it was, hip hop is all about the music, but at the same time, it's all about fashion too. Like,
Fashion,
you know what I
right.
mean?
That's
Yeah,
real.
so he was always into the fashion and Benetton. Remember Benetton back in the days and shit?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
so I used to always see my sister and shit. Like I was too. I remember the link she was going to Delancey Street to get the V-neck gooses and all that shit, and I couldn't go. I had to run out the crib to get because it was real low. Like, you know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
that's how I got introduced. Like just being into Video Music Box, watching all the fucking videos. MC Shan, really, he was the nigga that made me want to rap. And then you had Cool G rap with the Marley Marl shit, the
Yeah.
city. Yeah, that started me out and shit. Word.
That's crazy. That's a
Word.
crazy ass introduction. You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like,
yo, Big Daddy Kane is one of my favorites too. Like, you know what I mean? Because I grew up on Staten Island, but I was the only one that was born on Staten Island. Like, you know what I mean?
mm,
My family is from Brooklyn and shit. You know what I mean? Bed-Stuy. So we used like when I used to go to my grandmother's house for the whole fucking summertime, whatever. They used to have the block parties, WBLS, you know what I mean?
right,
And Big
right.
Daddy. I remember one year, right? Big Daddy Kane came through. You know what I mean? Had the flat top with the Remember how he used to have the ill parts in his head?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And yo, that was another time I fell in love with hip hop. Like, you know what I mean? Big Daddy Kane is one of my favorites. Big Daddy Kane, Cool G Rap, Rakim, KRS, Ghost, you know, of course, and the whole boo, you know what I mean? Nas, like CNN, those are my niggas. I love all that shit. Queens, like to me, I don't want to keep rambling on, but like
No, you
when
good. You
Queens,
good. I love that.
when Queens, I think Queens had the best rappers from New York, like to me. You know what I mean? Cause yo, them niggas was unstoppable at that time. You know what I mean?
Word.
You had Tragedy. You know what I mean? Remember
Yes.
Tragedy? He was the first
Yeah.
niggas first. Intelligent Hoodlum. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So and that's my nigga to this day and shit. You know what I mean? But yeah, Queens was that Queen sound. That was the
Traj,
sound
L,
of
you
growing
know,
up. You know?
Run DMC,
Hell
Onyx,
yeah.
Mike Geronimo. You understand what I'm saying? Like
Woo!
Ali
Yeah.
Vegas, you know, my man
Ali
Half a Mil, rest in peace.
Vegas,
You see what I'm
Johnny
saying?
Bone.
Like Capone Noriega, my man
Yeah.
Millennium Thug. Like I could go on that whole Queens roster. I used to be in
Yeah.
Queens all the
Queens was the
fucking
best, bro.
time. All the
Close
time.
it down is New York. As far as New York go, you know, you got Biggie. Biggie was like the king, like, you know what I mean? But
Hmm.
as far as like Queens, them
Yeah.
niggas holding it down. Because first of all, you still got other niggas from Queens, Akinelli. You still had all
Akinelli, yeah.
that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Word.
Yeah, Queens was crazy. I used to be in Queens all the time, like that when I be laughing and shit, I be like that last stop on the E train. You understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like
No
that
doubt.
last
No
stop
doubt.
on the E train. Whether you
Word.
took the
Word.
express or you took that long ass E train and you was on that motherfucker for like 2 hours. That
No
shit stopped
doubt.
at every
No doubt.
stop. You know what I'm saying? The
You got
E or the
nice.
7
Real.
or the J, whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
Even the 7 train and all that shit.
yeah, yeah.
Word. Yeah, that shit just was like, yo, because I remember like being young like that, and like the first time I ever heard Shook Ones, like, you know what I mean? I'm like, damn, you know what I mean? You
Yeah,
heard me,
yeah,
bro?
yes.
First time I heard that shit, my man got shot that night. He didn't get shot,
Wow.
shot. He got grazed, but it was like, it was so real. Like, those are the times, like, you know what I mean? It's just like, yo, man, trust me, son. Like, that album, like the infamous album, and Illmatic. My personally, I don't want to keep going, but like personally, Illmatic is the ill album, right? But
Right.
it was more ill for me though. Know why? Because
Mm.
that's when I was becoming more of age. Like, you know what I mean? When
Right.
Illmatic first dropped, I was probably only like 13. So when it was written dropped, I was probably like 16, 17. So now I start understanding what it was talking about. Like,
Right.
so that was my era. Like, you know what I mean? To me, It Was Written is the best album to me.
Best Nas album?
Yeah, to me.
I agree. Like there's certain things like the first album was a cheat code. You're working with the greatest producers in the world. You're not gonna lose. You understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You're not gonna lose. But you got a chance to truly hear, aside from One Love, when you get to It Was Written, like you were saying, like
Yeah.
there's other aspects. You learn all kind of other aspects in regards to the writing and the pen and everything. You see what
Uh-huh.
I'm saying? So, Taking in Blood was my shit. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like
Yeah.
Taking in Blood, like you know, hey, we used to
Wow.
rock the joints in the hood so hard. My brother was like, "Yo, get that shit a rest, man." Nas, you take
Can I
that.
tell you something? You
Go
know what it
ahead.
was? It was fucking I'm in my man, rest in peace to my brother. His name was Dutch, right? He had the It Was Written tape. So we was young. He's an older god, like a little older than us. But when
What?
I'm like, yo, let me hold that so I could dub that shit real fast. Remember how you could speed dub?
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So I had to speed It Was Written, give it back to him, and then it was on because that was summertime. I remember
Yeah,
that whole shit.
sometimes it's crazy.
Word.
Summertime.
Word.
That was a crazy ass summertime. That was '96. You know what I'm saying? Like that was crazy.
Yeah.
Machiavelli came out like it was crazy. It was a crazy. Reasonable
Woo.
Doubts came out like all that doubt.
All that
'96
shit, son.
summer was crazy.
Cause we was in a
Look, they
fucking,
said
we
I
was in a pit
gave
stop.
you
There was
power. Watch some niggas like Silent Murder was only on the tape. Silent
exactly.
Murder wasn't on
That
the
was like
CD.
Silent Murder was like the shit that was from Commando. Remember Commando? The movie?
Yeah,
That little shit
yeah,
from there.
yeah.
Word.
Was it the CIA that set up Malik Shabazz? Fuck what they teaching class. I'ma reach the mass. Like, yeah, that was my
A lot
shit.
of rich niggas fell and started
So
pumping
it's gonna
gas.
get yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, yo, it's a lot of shit that we gonna do right now, son. You know what I mean? Cause I'm still
Right,
working on my new shit. You know what I mean? Shout out to Unique. You know what I mean? My niggas from Trenton. You know what I mean?
right.
I'm dealing with a lot of niggas from Trenton and shit. You know what I mean? Get my
Mhm.
pen back on fire and shit. Like, you know what I mean? There's a lot of work to be done. You know what I mean?
That's real shit.
Yeah, talk to me though.
So you approaching like how did that whole situation work out? From you, you know, going from a like a connoisseur hip hop to like a participant actually. You know what I'm saying? Like how did that process go? What's Trife D's entrance into the game as an MC?
As an MC, you know, my big bro, he introduced me to the game. But it started like his brother, Beanie, you know what I mean? Shout out to
Hmm.
Beanie, you know what I mean? He locked up right now, but he'll be home soon. His brother, his little brother, you know what I mean? Me and him is best friends and shit. And you know, I know Ghost as Dougie, like, you know what I mean, in the hood. He was
Mm.
Dougie, a grimy nigga, like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And we was little niggas, like we used to always watching this nigga at his mom's crib, like it was always grimy, like, you know what I mean? But
Hmm.
Bean was like, yo, my nigga Trife is mad ill, you know what I mean? And Ghost was like, all right, this nigga's ill. I'm gonna come back and get this nigga. So in like 2001, niggas like bulletproof wallets. That's like when I was,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
So we got on that shit. The nigga flew me out to Miami and shit. You know what I mean? That's before cell phones. He called my mom's crib, like, you know what I mean? Word. Nah,
That's
real
real.
shit though.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
called my mom's crib. I still remember the number 718-727-8796. You know what I mean? So he
God
called my
damn.
mom's crib. You know what I mean? And he said, "You ready?" I said, "Hell yeah, I'm ready." And that was the first time I was ever on a flight. Everything. He flew me down to Miami, and we just was down there. The first song, he flew me straight in, and we went straight. He got me to the Hit Factory. It was the Hit Factory, right? So
Damn.
you know, the first song that was playing was The Watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I get in there, The Watch is playing. Yo, Ghost, you a foot. Yeah, that shit was on. Them niggas writing it right there. You know what I mean?
Crazy.
I'm like, oh shit. You know what I mean? And this nigga had to be like, I was only 21, so Ghost had to be like 30. You know what I mean? And ever
Mm.
since then, we just rocked out like word is bond, son. We put a lot of shit together. Like, yo, and I can tell you this, like when me and that nigga put our minds together and all that shit, we wrote a lot of ill word. And I'm not a ghostwriter, bro. Let me get this. Let me clear this. Verify this shit right now. I'm not a ghostwriter. You know what I mean? I'm just a nigga that plays part. Like, you know what I mean? We'll sit down. We can write this shit together, and when it comes out, it's the best for all of us. You know what I mean?
Right.
Word. But yeah, that was my intro. That was my intro. 2001. He flew me out to Miami. We did the fucking bulletproof wallet shit. And then there was another time we did the shit when Meth had to do his album. It was a whole bunch. Miami was the place to be around them times. You know what I mean?
Mm. Right.
Word.
So
But
this
yeah,
is before the towers or after the towers?
huh?
This before the towers or after the towers?
Before the towers.
Mm.
Because the towers in September. I'm talking like June. I'm talking like May. I probably left down to Miami from May all the way, you know what I mean? Because we was writing the whole album, the bulletproof shit, you know what I mean? Then we went on tour, remember that picture I posted with me and Ray? That was the fucking bulletproof wallet tour, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So September, yeah, that was before all the shit. Word. Yo, those like let me tell you something. Real shit. The best time in my life, yo. You
I
heard
could
me?
imagine, man. I could imagine. I was in the army then. I was in the army like around 98 on up. So I was listening to you overseas. You understand? I was in Germany at the time,
Mm,
2001. You know what I'm saying? Like
no doubt.
that first blueprint had dropped and shit. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah, yeah,
it was
yeah.
crazy. It was crazy, like leaving Queens and then going to Germany. You see what I'm saying?
Mm,
Like in the midst of all that other shit that was going on, that Brooklyn Queens shit. You see what I'm saying? Like that
yeah,
Nas
no
Jay
doubt.
Z shit. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So you hearing a little shit here, and then you hear fucking takeover. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. That's what I'm saying. It was
Niggas like,
like
yo, your man Nas
it
took
like
this
it
L,
was some
son.
type of way.
It was crazy shit going on at that time.
It was too much. That's when hip hop was like. That's when you had to really be ill with your pen, my nigga. I remember
Right,
like remember you had to do radio runs. I used to be always on a radio run with Starks, like you know what I mean.
right, right,
He had to promote his album. We used to go to like you'll have the East Delaware, um, the whole DMV, like you know what I mean. And then you'll have the West Coast run, San
right,
Fran, LA. Like I used to be on all that shit, just soaking everything up. You know what I mean?
right,
Learning, like you know what I mean? Because this, like, I'm still a baby, like you know what I mean. And
right.
then when I came into my own, you know what I mean. And now when we start doing other albums, then we do the push shit. That's when Ghost let me do my own thing. Even when I did the Better Late Than Never, Ghost let me do my own thing. Like, you know what I mean? Hold it down, boom. Whatever you need from me, just do it. Like, you know what I mean? That's how everything, like, yo, let me tell you something. Those were the best times of my life, bro. You know what I mean?
Right,
And we still good, like, you know what I mean? Life is still great, you know what I mean? Life is good. To me, for me, like, you know what I mean?
right.
You know what I mean? I can't speak for everybody else. Like, you know what I mean? Life is good for me. You know what I mean?
So now looking back at that shit is like 20 years now. You see what I'm saying? Two
Yeah.
decades in the game, man. 2 decades deep in the game. You know what I mean? Like, so what would you say when you look back on your career? What was some real defining moments to where you was like, oh, this shit is real, real. You see what I'm saying? This shit is real, real. Like,
Like
whether it was
when I
work,
traveled the world. You know what
whatever.
I mean? Like when I traveled the world, like for me to go in Europe or like in London or and them niggas will spit my rhyme, like you know what I
Yeah.
mean? That shit means a lot. Like, you know, like people like they get a misconception, right? Because they think, oh, you see me on like this. Niggas think we too hardcore. But when you really meet us and stuff, these niggas love us. Like, you know what I mean? Niggas
Word.
get everything misconstrued. Like, you know what I mean? So my point is, like, when I knew it was real, when I was out overseas and niggas was spitting my shit, I'm like, oh shit, this shit is real. Like, you know what I mean?
And don't speak English. The only English that they speak is your shit. Word is
Exactly.
small. Word is
Word.
small.
Word.
Yeah. Yeah,
And I'm
that's
talking about
nuts.
Japan. We in Japan.
Right,
Like, yo, I would have never thought I would have made it to Japan in my life. You know what I mean?
right, right.
But through the grace of God, through the talent that I do have, and for my brother Ghost bringing me through, it's a blessing, man. You know what I mean?
That's real.
Well,
That's real shit. The fam in here shouting y'all out. If y'all got a question, hit the button, ask the question on the
yeah, I see
side
a
so I
lot
can
of
ask the
people
question.
tuning in.
Word,
Yo, yeah, my nigga D Hart from Philly. Yo, what up, Philly?
word, word. So
Yeah.
y'all on tour, you traveling the world. What's your takeaways from travel? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, how important has travel been for you in your life and your worldview?
Yo, traveling and everything like that is the best thing. The best part of doing music is traveling, seeing the world, and maintaining your craft. Like, you know what I mean? Cause we was in Amsterdam and shit. I don't know if you ever heard that song. Yo, we did that song Amsterdam. We
Yeah.
wrote that shit on stage. It was like we wrote that shit in front of the people. It was a concert. You heard me?
That's wild. Yeah,
You ever
yeah,
listen to that song, the Amsterdam song? We was in
yeah.
Amsterdam. We wrote that shit in front of the people, and you had a nigga that was drawing ghosts. He did like a fucking, he drew Ghost on a fucking, whatever that shit is called. He drew that nigga. We was in the back recording the song while the whole fucking people was enjoying the fucking what we was doing, bro. That shit was,
It's
that
crazy.
was one of the illest shits, bro.
Yeah, I went to Amsterdam like 13 times. That's like one of my favorite places on earth.
And
You know
I
what I'm
don't smoke
saying?
weed. All my niggas smoke weed. That shit was
Yeah, me
lit
either.
there.
It's just calm. Like the shit is calm. Like the Netherlands was calm. You see what
Yeah,
I'm
the
saying?
Netherlands.
Like
Yep.
it's just it's a vibe. It's that vibe over there is peaceful. You see what I'm saying? Like no matter
Word
what
up.
was going on, like yeah, that shit was crazy. Yeah, I
Word.
went there like 13 times, man. Like out there with during the times was at its height. You know what I mean? Like it was
Yeah,
it was it
son.
was a different little spot. You know, different little spot out there. I never
You had
like
my
I heard
niggas.
about that shit.
You had my niggas. Yo, shout out to my nigga, my brother, Ghost cousin. His name is Dulels. You know what I mean? You know, dude. The nigga, he goes into the fucking spot. You know what I mean? Sits down and he's smoking his shit. I never saw no shit like that. You know what I mean?
Right, right,
Like niggas will
right.
fuck around. You sit down at the coffee table. Them niggas pass you a
Yeah,
fucking menu and you can order your fucking weed.
right,
Even
right.
the red light district and all that shit. Like that was some ill
Yeah,
shit too. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
I never saw no shit like that. Those are the little things, like, you know what I mean?
And
Even
they
like
got a cop show, like we watch cops and cops, they be wilding, chasing after motherfuckers and all that old extra shit. That was
yeah,
the common shit ever. Like the cop shit was that shit looked boring. You see what I'm saying?
yeah,
They like, yo, if they can't pull their guns out and shit. You understand? Like they was de-escalating situations. And you
yeah,
look at the shit now, like with all of these police killings and shit like that, they talking to people on
yeah.
the side, like, hey man, you understand what you
How
did
you, how
was
you
wrong.
feel
Like,
about how you feel about the George Floyd shit? Not to get too political and shit, like, but how you feel about that though?
hey, I got a different perspective on all that. You understand what I'm saying? So in certain ways we grew up, like we took care of our own business. You see what I'm saying? It shouldn't have led to no situations like that. That's just my opinion. You see what I'm saying? Like certain things you
No doubt,
do, you handle shit in house. You know what I mean? Like
no
we ain't never
doubt,
called nobody on nobody. You understand? We ain't never called nobody on nobody. You know,
no doubt,
not
no
even
doubt.
if we wanted to. In most cases, we couldn't. You understand what I'm saying? Like most cases, we couldn't. You know what I mean? Like you just
Yeah,
certain shit you don't do. So, you know, you take care of family. That's me in short.
yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
But yo, let me tell you something. Like after the bulletproof wallets, we had went back to Miami because Ghost always liked it Miami. Like for some
Mm.
reason, you know, that's when we did the Pretty Toney album when he got signed to Def Jam and all that shit.
Yeah,
That was another good time. Like, you know what I
that shit
mean?
was good for my soul right there. That
Yo,
Pretty
let me tell
Toney
you something.
album,
Yo, let me tell you
man.
something. That
You
like
showed
we
the fuck out
stood
on
down
that
there for
too.
like,
You showed the
huh?
fuck out on there. Like you showed the fuck out. Like you showed
Yeah.
like you gave us a sprinkle at first. You went from sprinkle to fucking explosion. You understand
Let
what
me
I'm
tell you
saying?
something.
Like
You know,
what
like
was that?
a lot of
What
a
was
lot of a
one
lot of
second
shit
though?
that
Like what was that mixtape? I'm just trying to get the timeline right. Was that mixtape that
you
y'all
talking about
put
the
out?
718 shit.
Yeah. Was
718.
that before?
Nah, that's the same type of era. Cause a
Okay.
lot of shit
Okay.
that didn't make the Pretty Tony album,
Yeah.
he had. Cause yo, I used to like there was times like Ghost wouldn't show up to the studio, like, you know what I mean. And you know, all respect, he might have been a little tight, but I used to go to the studio every day. So if Ghost wasn't there, I had to, because you gotta remind yourself that you had niggas like Def Jam paying out the whole block. So
Yeah.
there was like that every day, like, you know what I mean? Niggas got to show up, you know what I mean? To
Right.
utilize that time. So I would sneak the fucking car, and I would drive all the way to the Hit Factory, bro.
Crazy.
Word. And I would utilize that time. So that's how a lot of that 718 shit got done. Like, you know what I
That's
mean?
crazy. Yeah.
Word. So 718 and Pretty Tone was around the same time, like, you know what I mean?
Pretty Tony was a fucking classic
Yeah.
ass album, yo.
Cause I remember when Ghost did what's the name? What's that joint? Holla. I lost my mind
Holla,
when he did that shit.
holla, holla,
You heard me?
if you want to.
He
I
snuck that one
bust
in. You
it.
heard me?
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, son. That nigga snuck that one in. We ain't had nobody in the studio that day. It was like, yo, everybody get out the room. I'm just doing this for Dolo. And when I heard that shit, I came back to the studio the next day. I said, yo, this shit is banging right here, son.
You got
Word.
the craziest shout out in the universe on Beat the Clock. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, hell yeah, son. Yo, let me tell you,
Motherfucker made
son.
the clock.
We was in there like, yo, we was going real hard. Like around that was we was going real hard, yo. And that's when Ghost stopped smoking weed. He's like, yo, because he was like, yo, he was smoking weed too much and he wasn't going to the studio. And that's when he quit smoking weed. Like, yo, I gotta be on point. Like, fuck that. I gotta get this shit done. You know what I mean? And that's how that shit worked out. Wow.
That's crazy. Them studio sessions had to be wild, man. Like you got an aggressive ass flow. You understand? Like
You know where I learned that from? I'm gonna keep it
I
tall
don't
with
know
you.
what go ahead.
I got it from K Solo's voice. Remember K Solo had an ill voice?
Yeah. Yeah.
I made my voice like K Solo's voice. Word. Word the mother.
Yeah. Your presence, man, your presence was felt. You know what I'm saying? Cass knew you was on the track. You know, aside from bars, like you was like it was like every punch was really a punch in the face. You know what I'm saying? Like yeah, that shit was crazy. That shit was crazy,
Word the
man.
mother. Word is born. Let me tell you, fam. I had to do it. I was around Big Bro. You
Right.
know, he wasn't letting me spit no fucking corny shit. You know what I mean? Word the mother. I had to be on point. There was times he'd be like, yo, like I would like say some like, you know, like some slick fly shit. And I'd be like, nah, that shit is corny. He's like, nah, just say that shit. That's how you feel. Say that shit. You know what I mean? And that's how, like, a lot of shit, like that biscuit shit,
Yeah.
True Master, shout out to True Master. Like, you know what I
My
mean? That
brother,
nigga's the
man.
illest one to me.
That's
Yeah.
my brother right there. I bought True Master
Yo,
to Germany when I was out there in Germany. You
word
know
the
what I'm
bond.
saying? Yeah, he met my old Earth and everything. Yeah, man. True Master, man. Out
That nigga
there.
True Master, that nigga's the illest, bro.
Word.
Word. That was a CD, that Biscuit CD. I was the only one that kept, I had a different verse for that song, right? And I spit my verse, but Ghost came through and bodied that shit, so I had to switch my shit up. You know what I mean? Word the mother. But I picked that beat out. I picked that beat
Yeah.
out. Because it was a CD. It was a CD, right? But the CD just kept skipping all the time. Like certain times it would just, remember back in the CD days and all that shit?
Yeah.
Only
Yeah.
certain times that CD would just play out. And for some certain reason, that day we went in the studio, the CD played and the nigga in the studio looped the shit and it was on. Shout out to Doolil's. Ghost's cousin Doolil's helped us write the hook too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was real. That was an ill studio session, bro.
Shit
Yo,
had
what
to
up?
be.
You know what I mean? Because Doolil's like, yo,
Yeah.
you gotta see shit like, yo, what up? And then that's when niggas just like,
With
T-T-O-G.
these
You know what I mean?
Gucci,
Wow.
easy, all your shit, all your shit. Fuck around,
Wow.
take all your shit.
Because you know what it
Y'all
is? When
faggots
niggas
don't
in the
want no
studio,
beef. Yeah, that was my shit.
everybody in the studio, like you can't just be in the studio just like yo smoking your little whatever. You gotta put in some work if you in there, nigga. Like you know what I mean?
Right.
Word.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy than a motherfucker, man.
Word.
So y'all had put the 718 mixtape around
And
the
then
same time.
not because we did the 718 shit, right? And we was on tour with Project Rev who's those niggas? Linkin Park. We was on tour with Linkin Park.
Yeah.
That was a big ass tour. So and we was promoting the 718 shit. We was selling 718 shit on tour. Snoop Dogg, Corn. It was MOP. It was a big ass fucking that was the
Yeah.
biggest tour I was ever on. We was out there for like 2 months.
Hmm.
Word. When I
It's
tell you that was
crazy.
the illest shit, that was the illest shit, bro. Word. Big.
When
That was a big tour.
was you around for the Def Jam Vendetta shit when he was on the motherfucking that shit?
Hell yeah. I was there for all that shit, bro. And I'm, you know what I mean?
Crazy.
Cause you know, not that don't nobody get it twisted, but like I was the nigga that was like on some like, cause you know we'll get off tour and I'll go back to the hood. You know what I mean? Whatever. But I would always be like, yo, Ghost, these what niggas want to hear. You know what I mean? So Ghost would always like come to me like, yo, word. I'd be like, yeah, nigga, you gotta do this shit. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Word.
That shit's
And then,
crazy.
then that Fishscale shit dropped.
Oh shit, yo.
And that's when it was super on.
From bad to worse. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Pretty Toney was nice, but that Fishscale, yo.
That Fishscale was like, woo. You know what I
This
mean?
guy's a bulldozer with a wrecking
Yeah,
ball
bro.
attached. That shit was
Word. Shout out
crazy.
to Ant Acid. Ant
Yeah.
and Acid. Oh, boom. And we was doing joints like with fucking Ron, what's that nigga name? The ooh wee shit. When we did the shit with Nate Dogg and all that shit.
Yeah.
That was around that time and all that shit too. We was doing joints with Nate Dogg. We did the ill shit with the executioners with Black Thought.
Yeah.
Yo, it was mad shit we was doing, bro.
Mm.
Because a lot of shit was just coming through. And Ghost would be like, yo, handle that. So I would just put the pen down, me and him, like, yo, you like how this sound? Boom, 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 boom. And it's a go. You know what I mean?
Right.
That was my biggest song though. Me personally, that shit, with the Nate Dogg shit, the ooh wee
Mm-hmm.
shit, that was my biggest song and shit. I still get residuals off that shit. Like, you know what I mean?
So when is the decision for Trife to bring itself and do your solo joints? Was that concurrent or was just a decision you came to?
Nah, cause you know what I mean? It's just like as an MC, like, you know what I mean, I just gotta do what I gotta do. Like, you know what I mean? And Ghost gonna give me he gonna give me as much leeway as he gonna give me. If you go back to Better Late Than Never, that was my
Yeah.
first album. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why I named it Better Late Than Never, because everybody was always like, yo, this nigga's so dope. Why he ain't put nothing out? Like, and that was my first album and shit. Better Late Than Never. And that was like, that was the illest joint for me. You know what I mean? Ghost held me down. I put that shit together myself and shit. And then I was like, yo, joints that you hear Ghost on, I'm like, yo, these are the ones I want you on. And he came through and let me rock. He came through and rocked. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well,
That's love
it
right
was
there.
always everything. You know what I mean? Let me tell you something too. Like me, I never signed the contract with Ghost. It was just off of love. Like, you know what I mean? And let me tell you, he never jerked me. None of that shit. Like, you know what I mean? It was none of that shit. He always kept it 1,000 with me. You heard? But
That's amazing, and that's a rarity, especially in the business. We was just talking about the business aspect of all of this shit earlier. I was on No Ideas Original podcast. You should check them out. You know what I'm saying? I'll link you with them because you know they respect the craft and they respect the game. You know what I mean? So them and some other platforms I introduce you to after this. Just
that,
the business type of situation to where whatever love is there get lost in the business most of the time. You see what I'm saying? And then it becomes this and that. You see what I'm saying? So it's refreshing to hear that it didn't happen with you. You know what I'm saying? And Ghost. You see what I'm saying? Y'all both too vital to the culture. You see what I'm
that,
saying? And then what y'all mean to each other as brothers. You see what I'm saying? That's a beautiful thing to know that it ain't never turned into no shit like that.
I don't know. You know what I mean? And it's like, yo, it's like to the point where me and my bro, we ain't ever have no discrepancies on some money shit. No, nothing. Like, nowhere we gotta be like, I ain't talking to you over some bullshit. Nah.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know, as I got older and shit, niggas not separate, but nigga over here doing his own thing over there. You know what I mean? When we meet up, you know what I mean? My brother can start me from his phone call away, bro. You know what I mean?
Right.
I put everything down. You know what I mean? Fuck my nigga and shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Wow.
So when your first joint came out, Better Late Than Never, man, how you feel actually to see your name on your, you know what I'm saying, on your own shit?
Man,
Like you craft everything up.
it was like a fucking, it was salty. It felt good. But that it came out the day my mother passed away, yo.
Oh shit.
It was crazy, yo. You know what I mean? That was 2009. You know what I mean? It came out July 21st, 2009. The album came out, and July 22nd was my mother passed away the next day. So it we was on tour. We was on tour. Um, we was on tour with Red and Meth. You know
Crazy.
what I mean? And it was a salty feeling, but I still felt good about it though. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I did it and I had it. It was so ill. It was in stores, like you know what I mean. Best
Right.
Buy, remember FYE and all that.
Right.
It was in old stores, so when I went there, I could really see my shit in store, like you know what I mean. It was
Right.
a good feeling and shit.
Mm.
Wow.
I don't
I
even.
had all my niggas go to the spot. You know what I mean? Shit had the whole Staten Island lit. Everybody drunk that shit. Word.
Yeah. I
Word.
forgot that feeling. I remember Mobb Deep album came out, Infamy, and like I said, I was in the military overseas, and I was looking through the joints. You know, they got everything in alphabetical order. So
No
I'm
doubt.
looking, I see Mobb Deep, and I see when they get shit, when the new shit come out, they put the old shit too. They be trying to beat you in the head because you go if you thinking your CD scratched up or whatever, you go like, oh shit, I need this, I need this, I need this, all the way back to like Juvenile Hell and shit. And I
Yup.
seen one copy of Infamy, and this dude picked it up. So I snatched that shit out of his hand and just looked at him crazy as hell, like ready to beat the shit out of him in the little spot, right? I just straight snatched the CD out of his head, like,
No doubt.
and
No doubt.
walked off. And
I remember that
my
album
man from
too.
VA was like, yo. I was like, yeah, I got that last CD. He was like, man, fuck. He's like, how'd you
That
get that
album
shit?
was
I
an
said,
ill
I
joint
snatched it
too.
out this motherfucker's head right there. You see what
That
I'm saying?
Infamy
Like,
was ill joint too. That was when Prodigy was going at Jay-Z and all that shit. I remember that shit too.
yeah,
Hell yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
So
that
yeah,
them
that
was
was
times though. You know what I mean?
word.
And then we had like we did the Fishscale shit, we did the More Fish shit, we did the
Yeah,
Apollo Kid shit, we did the
right.
Big Two Rehab. We was just putting mad shit
Victor
out.
Rehab. Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
And y'all did the Theodore joint too, right? You was on the Theodore joint, right?
hell yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That shit was
And then
crazy.
I did the Project Pope, you know what I mean?
That's your
That was
second
like,
joint, right?
yeah, the Project Pope too. That was my
Yeah.
baby, like, you know what I mean?
hmm
Mm-hmm.
So what you think? What would you say from Better Late Than Never to Project Pope? You know what I'm saying? Like, what was the transition like? You see what I'm saying? Like, from one project to the next one.
The transition was me growing, right? Me growing,
hmm
um, knowing how to put these certain songs together, like you know what I mean? Because if you listen to Better Late Than Never, it was a good project put together fully. But if you listen to Better Late Than Never, then you listen to Project Pope 2, it's a totally different thing because now I understood certain shit. Now you heard the joint with me and Friendly Godson. I had to pay that nigga out of my pocket for that shit because that was a nigga that I was feeling. That was my nigga. I loved him. You know what I mean? So I'm
Yeah.
like, yo, fam, I got like $1,000 for you real fast. Can you do it for me? Like, yo, he did the shit for me. That right there, it was big for me and shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Word. So it was just like more or less me just learning throughout all them years, man. It was just like me learning, like, cause being around stocks, like, and the whole boom and all that shit, being around, and then you meet other people around these niggas, you know what I mean? So I'm a quiet nigga, like, you know what I mean? Nigga be like, yo, why you so quiet? Nah, I'm just quiet because I'm absorbing and analyzing, you know what I mean? Learning, like, you know what I mean?
Doing the
I'm not one
knowledge.
of those
Right.
big mouth niggas to where like I gotta catch all type of jewels and learn shit, like you know what I mean, and then I could
hmm
utilize what I learned from there and put it to what I'm trying to do over here, like you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Word, and that's like that was the whole growth. That was the whole growth.
Crazy.
Word,
Project Pope, man. You know what I'm saying?
word.
So you Project Pope, and then that's what Project Pope 2. When did you do the Candyman joint? You know what I'm saying? Like you turned that motherfucker out, man. You went into a whole nother character. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers weren't really ready for that shit. Like you
Nah, but you know
morphed
how that
into
shit.
another
It was just like
motherfucker with that shit. That shit's crazy.
shout out to my nigga Game Shotter. You know what I mean? He from Vancouver. He an ill dude, like you know what I mean. He just sent me the beat, and the beat had
Mm.
like if you hear how the beat starts, it say Candyman and all that shit. So I just analyzed the whole beat and shit. I said, yo, I'm gonna just put all the candies together and just
Yeah.
do it like that. You know what I mean? And I tried to, like, I wrote the song and I was like, yo, I gotta put this shit out on Halloween and put the video out, put the song out on Halloween, boom, 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 boom.
Right.
And that's just how that shit went. Like, if you notice, like, if real shout out to Papoose, you know what I mean? Because he just did the NBA shit over. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know that shit?
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
did that
Hell
shit
yeah.
years ago.
With the jerseys in the spot. Yeah, the visual
Yeah.
joint. Yeah.
But I did that shit 20 years ago.
Right.
The NBA shit. I did that shit 20 years ago. But the NBA shit I did and the Candyman, it's sort of like the same shit. Like, you know what I mean? Word. But yeah, a lot of people receptive to that and they like that joint. You know what I mean? It shocked me. Like, I just woke up out of bed, heard the beat, and I was smoking a cigarette. I went downstairs because I couldn't smoke in my crib, so I went out in front of the gate and I just started writing that shit. Word.
That was clever, man. And it ain't nothing like hearing, you know, relatable. Like it go from storytelling to relatable to cool to double entendre, triple entendre. So it's layered. You see what I'm saying? It's layered. So if you just listening to it on one perspective, you like, all right, he's talking about candy. When you looking at it at another perspective, he talking about the streets. You look at it another perspective, you like, it's all of that shit. It ain't, you see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's not one dimensional. It's not one, you
Yeah.
know, one
Exactly.
perspective. So if you got
Yo,
one
because let me tell you
perspective,
something.
that's what you're gonna get.
It was right before Halloween too. Like, right? So boom, we had a show in it was in Michigan somewhere. It was like a white part of Michigan. And I just finished recording the song, mix and everything. And I was like, start we was in the airport. I'm like, yo, Ghost, listen to this shit. He listened to this shit. He said, yo, that shit's fire. You better do the video right now. You gotta do the video right now. So that's when I went back home and I did the video right there, like boom, boom, boom. You know what I mean?
Right.
Word. So like,
Yeah.
I mean, so I always like, you know what I mean? I always ask him for not for approval, but he'll tell me like, yo, nah, son, hold back on that. He'll tell me what to do, like, you know what I mean? Because you always need like feedback. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Uh,
Real feedback. Not like, yo, that shit was hot, son. I'm
yeah,
telling you, try. And the shit's trash. You know what I'm saying? Like, you still come from the era where somebody can tell you, like, yeah, nah, yo, throw that shit in the trash and do something different. You see what I'm saying? Like, you know, you hear that. That's golden. You see what I'm saying? Now cats call that shit hating. You just hating, blah, blah, blah.
yeah,
Like, nah, man. You got to really, like, this is your art form. You see what I'm saying? This is your craft. You're a
yeah,
craftsman. You're a master craftsman at this. You see what I'm saying? So a master craftsman go before the council, whomever his council is or her council
no
is, and
doubt,
boom.
yeah, no
That's
doubt,
look. That's
yeah.
some boss shit. See, look. You already went somewhere with that shit just now. You
Hell
like,
yeah.
oh yeah, yeah. I'm about to do some ill shit with
Nigga give
that
you that
right
green light,
there.
nigga. You gonna rock with that green light, nigga. Just gave you the green
Yeah.
light.
Word.
Wow.
Word. Especially if you come from people who don't give out no compliments. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
fucking with the woo. They like fuck
Yeah.
that shit. That shit's. You know what I
Let
mean?
me tell
Like.
you, let me big up my brothers too. I'm gonna shout out my nigga Method Man. You know what I mean? That nigga's
Word.
a real nigga, bro.
Right.
Word. Cause he got on that joint off the Project Pope shit. What's the name of that shit? Pyrex Dreams.
Yeah.
He saluted me for that one, man. Appreciate that. You know what I mean? He really,
That's love.
you know what I mean? And Meth is like one of those niggas that keep it super tall. Like, you know what I mean? He like one of the illest niggas out the whole game. Word. All them niggas is ill though. You know what I mean? Them niggas show me mad love and shit. Meth is always love. You know what I mean?
What you think about them verses that just happened?
That shit
The
was
Red
beautiful.
Ghost joint
That shit was
and the Red and
beautiful.
Meth joint.
It had me like ready to fucking had me ready to pop something. It
I understand. I understand 100%.
was too ill.
Uh,
It was too
I,
ill. You know what I
I was
mean?
talking to Blue Raz, man. Shout out to Blue Raspberry,
Hell
man. My
yeah.
gym
Shout out
sis,
to
man.
Brad.
Like, I told her, release your death. Her singing on Release Your Death
Hell
made me
yeah.
choke slam a motherfucker in the club, man. Word is bone. I choke
Some
slam the
ill
shit out of
shit.
this motherfucker. You know
You
what I'm
probably don't
saying?
even know how ill
Listen to
you
that
know how
shit.
ill she is, but she was super ill back then. You
Right,
know what I mean?
right, right.
Everything she was on was crazy. Like, you know what I
It's
mean?
crazy as hell. all that
Hell
shit.
yeah.
Rainy days was my shit. Like rainy day.
Hell
I told her like, yo, when there's too much rain outside, or I need to just zone out, man, I put on that
yeah. That
motherfucking
shit.
rainy day. You know what
Yup.
I'm saying? That shit take me someplace. You know what I mean?
Yup.
Like I don't smoke, but like just like
Yeah, I don't
that
smoke
rainy
either.
days joint and SP joint, I get high. I
Those are
just
my
go.
niggas
That's
too.
one of them
Love those
places. You know
niggas
what I'm
too.
saying?
Shit.
Word, word.
And Jada Kiss was just out here, like probably like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
My little man, shout out to my nigga Scrooge from Stapleton. Like he had Jada Kiss, Jada Kiss, and he was out there in Stapleton. That shit was beautiful, son. Word.
I just seen him out somewhere giving out food in front of somebody's projects. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
the philanthropy is real. Like you could see transformation. You see what I'm saying? You could see from, how shit was before to, how it is now. Like, you know what I mean? It's a beautiful thing to see. You
And
see what
yo,
I'm
really,
saying?
all that shit niggas be doing and shit. That shit is important. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is very important.
So you just dropped uh Project Pope 3 last year, right?
Now I dropped the 780 shit. Boom. Check it out. This is what I got to it, right? I got the joint
Mm-hmm.
with me and my brother Crime Life, right?
Yeah.
Woo! Know what I'm gonna do? Send me your email and I'm gonna email you some joints so you can critique it. Boom, boom. So I got that joint. I got the Project Pope 3 and I got the TMF album. I got 3 projects. You know what I mean? Fire too. You know what I mean?
So them joints coming out this year or they coming out next year?
Yeah, it's coming out this year.
So you about to fuck up niggas summer and shit. They thought they was about to do something this summer, so you about to fuck their summer up.
Yeah, I'm gonna fuck niggas whole summer up. You know what I mean? What the game is missing. You know what I mean? Niggas like, you know what I
What?
mean? You know what really fucked me up was COVID. I was
Mm.
gliding, and then COVID hit, and I was like, I fell back. Like, you know what I mean? I remember we just came off the road. We was in Europe. We was in Brazil.
Right.
We was doing all that shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then it just fucked everything up, bro.
Mm.
Word.
COVID been good to me. I can't front. I can't even be disrespectful to COVID. You know what I'm saying? I shout her out, man. You understand?
No doubt.
COVID got me this interview. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have been able to get it. You know what I mean? Like, I'd had to wait a
Right.
couple more years because we done connected plenty of times, but you was on the road. Like, every time I checked for you, you was like, yo, I'm on that shit right there. Like, oh, we about to get on
Yeah.
the stage or we on the stage. You see what I'm saying? So,
No doubt.
you
No
know,
doubt.
it's a little time in the making. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, with the
So
earth
yo,
slowing down,
check it out, cause I gotta fuck around. What time is it? I gotta go fuck around and snatch my son up though. But yo, damn, I don't even mean to cut it off like that. But
it's all
hit
good. We
me
can pick it up. We do a part two.
hit me with your email. Like inbox me with your email so I can send you some joints and let me know what you think about the shit.
What? I
Yeah, I
line you
love
up
you,
with these
bro.
other. Love you too, man. I,
I mean,
I line
God
you up
bless.
with these other platforms also. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and another thing, like, you know what I mean? I know we cutting it a little short, but next time we do another joint, you know what I mean? We do another joint and we link up more. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, Famo?
Word.
All right, God bless you, man. Be safe, man.
God bless, man. Peace.
One love. Peace.
Peace. All right, man. Salute Trife Da God, man. Running us through that discography, them lessons learned on the road. 20 years in the game, man. Time flies when you're having fun. And you just heard it's about to be a long hot summer, man. You about to mess some summers up. You understand? So cats might want to wait till the fall or to the winter to drop their shit. You understand? So if you like what you heard, man, subscribe here. This will be up on my YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/Doodle Knowledge Radio. That's DOTHAKNOWLEDGERADIO. Subscribe here. And we got more stuff coming, man. So for now, we out. Peace.